On behalf of CommScope and Allen Bradley, I'd like to welcome you to the CommScope Technical Training Center. I'm Stephen Elmore, Applications Engineer for CommScope. As an authorized manufacturer of cable for Allen Bradley, we'd like to demonstrate the proper connectorization procedures for control net cable. We will be using the Allen Bradley Control Net Toolkit, catalog number 1786-CTK/B, and CommScope non-plenum control net cable, catalog number 5060, and plenum control net cable, catalog 5061. Let's begin by reviewing the tools we'll be using. In the Allen Bradley Control Net Coax Toolkit, we have a spare blade module, the FEP memory cap, connectors, the flush cut cable cutters, coaxial stripping tool, crimping tool, terminators, combination calibration and flare tool, and an X-Acto knife. The BNC connector package should contain a BNC connector body, a center pin, and if it contains two crimp ferrules, discard the one with the smaller inside diameter. To connectorize non-plenum control net cable, begin by calibrating the coaxial cable stripping tool. Rotate the screws counterclockwise to bring the screw heads flush with the top of the memory cap. Place the larger end of the calibration tool in the coaxial stripper. Use your screwdriver to rotate the screws in a clockwise direction until the blades just contact the calibration tool. Remove the calibration tool and make a practice cut on the cable. Ensure the cable is straight and extends through the stripping tool by at least 1 inch. Rotate the stripping tool at least twice for each click of the chamfer ring. Remove all the material to the first cut, including the dielectric, using a twisting turning motion. Remove the jacket, braid, and foil to the second cut, and check the third cut. You'll notice I had braid wire fall from the third cut and no score in the foil at the second cut, so we need to do a fine calibration of the stripping tool. To increase the cut depth of the second cut, rotate the screw clockwise. And to decrease the cut depth of the third cut, rotate the screw counterclockwise. Perform another practice cut. Continue to adjust the stripping tool until the cable is properly prepared. A properly calibrated stripping tool will prepare the cable with no nicks in the center conductor at the first cut. Remove the jacket, braid, and score the bonded foil at the second cut. And cut only jacket with no nicks in the braid at the third cut. Once you have properly calibrated your coaxial stripping tool, you are ready to connectorize non-plenum control net cable. Remember to rotate the stripping tool at least twice for each click of the chamfer ring. Remove the dielectric material from the center conductor using a twisting turning motion. Be sure to place the crimp ferrule on the cable at this time. Remove the jacket and braid to the second cut, leaving the bonded foil on the dielectric. Remove the jacket from the third cut. Using your X-Acto knife, remove the bonded foil to the second cut. Trim the center conductor to a length of 4 millimeters. Use the combination flare and calibration tool to flare the braid, foil, and jacket. Use a rocking turning motion. A properly flared cable should look like this. Place the center pin on the center conductor. Crimp it using the smaller cavity of the crimp tool. Be sure the flush side of the tool faces the cable. Check the security of the crimp by pulling on the center pin. Insert the center pin into the connector body and push it on until it clicks. It will be seated properly when you can gently pull and the pin remains in the connector body. The center pin must be flush with the inner ring of the connector body. Bring the crimp ferrule up over the braid and connector body. You may use the larger cavity of the crimp tool as an anvil for this process. Do not pull on the cable. Crimp the ferrule using the larger cavity of the crimp tool. Crimp the ferrule so that it is flush with the bottom of the connector body. You will notice that the ferrule is not crimped toward the cable and is crimped all the way to the bottom of the connector body. A properly crimped connector will not pull off the cable. This connection is now ready for testing. To convert the coaxial stripping tool for plenum cable, replace the memory cap marked PVC with the one labeled FEP. Remember to back the adjustment screws out until they are flush with the top of the memory cap. Place the smaller end of the calibration flare tool in the coaxial stripper. Adjust the screws in a clockwise direction until the blades just contact the calibration tool. Remove the combination calibration and flare tool from the cable stripper. Perform a test cut on the plenum cable to ensure that it is properly adjusted. Be sure that the cable is straight and extends through the stripping tool. Remember to rotate the stripping tool at least twice for each click of the chamfer ring. Remove the jacket, braid, and dielectric to the first cut. Remove the jacket and braid to the second cut. You can see that the second cut is not deep enough, so we will need to perform a fine adjustment. To increase the depth, rotate the screw clockwise. A properly calibrated coaxial stripping tool will prepare the cable with no nicks in the center conductor at the first cut. Remove the jacket, braid, and score the bonded foil at the second cut, and cut only jacket with no nicks in the braid at the third cut. Once we have calibrated our coaxial cable stripping tool, we are ready to connectorize plenum control net cable. Be sure the cable is straight and extends through the stripping tool by at least 1 inch. Remember to rotate the stripping tool at least twice for each click of the chamfer ring. Remove the jacket, braid, and dielectric from the center conductor using a twisting turning motion. Remove the jacket and braid from the second cut, leaving the bonded foil. Remember to place the crimp ferrule on the cable at this time. Remove the jacket from the third cut. Trim the center conductor to a length of 4 millimeters. Using your X-Acto knife, remove the bonded foil from the second cut. It will make it easier if you place 2 1/8 inch slits in the jacket 180 degrees apart. Be careful not to cut too deep and damage the braid. This will make flaring and connectorizing the plenum cable easier. Use the combination flare and calibration tool to flare the foil, braid, and jacket. Place the center pin on the center conductor. Crimp the pin in place using the smaller cavity of the crimp tool. Check the center pin for a secure crimp. Place the center pin into the connector body and push it on until it clicks. Check the center pin to ensure that it is flush with the inner ring of the connector. Slide the crimp ferrule up over the braid and connector body. You may use the larger cavity in the crimp tool as an anvil for this process. Do not pull on the cable. Crimp the ferrule using the larger cavity in the crimp tool. Be sure the ferrule is flush with the bottom of the connector body. The crimp should extend to the bottom of the connector body and not the cable end. The center pin should be flush with the inner ring of the connector. A properly crimped connector will not pull off the cable. This connection is now ready for testing. The preferred method of testing is to use the Rockwell Automation Net Links Media Checker, catalog number 1788MCHKR. Be sure the Net Links Media Checker is set up properly for the cable you are testing. Simply attach the cable to the tester and rotate the selector switch to the test position. A single beep indicates a good cable, and a connection with no shorts or opens to the length indicated. A multiple beep indicates a shorted cable or connector. You will need to troubleshoot the link to determine the source of this problem. A secondary method of testing is to use a multimeter. To test the cable and connector, first test for shorts between the connector body and the center conductor. Reading an open indicates a good cable and connector. Short the other end of the cable using a shorting clip and test the cable for continuity. Repeat the test between the connector body and the center pin. Reading a short tells us we have a good cable. Take the time to return all your tools to their proper location in the toolkit. While we have demonstrated the proper procedures for connectorization of control net cable, you should refer to the planning and installation manual included in the Coaxial toolkit if you have any questions. This concludes our demonstration of connectorization of Allen Bradley control net cable. On behalf of CommScope and Allen Bradley, thank you for your attention during this demonstration. For additional information on our products, please contact your local CommScope or Allen Bradley representative.